Excel that are specifically geared towards statistics. And obviously, that's going to be important for us this semester. Okay, so I'm going to click in here. I could go into here, function of x, and I could tell it to just show me the statistical functions. Right? And you see a whole bunch of statistical functions. I don't see mean in there. Anybody got an idea what I might use instead of mean? Average. Average was right there. So average, okay. And I'm going to take the average of these first 10 numbers. I could either type it in or just do it this way. See, it filled it in for me, A1 through A10, and say OK. I could have also typed in there equal sign, average, parentheses, and it would have given me the opportunity to choose those numbers. Okay, how about the median? What's the median? Median is the middle number, right? Okay, there's a couple of ways I could deal with that. One way is I'm going to highlight these 10 numbers, right? And I'm going to go up here. And Excel will allow me to sort these numbers. Smallest to largest. So the median is the middle number, right? When you got 10 numbers, you really got two middle numbers, right? Even, it's because it's, you know, there's really no middle number when you have 10 numbers, right? Because there's 5 and then there's another 5, there's no middle number. So to find the median, you average the two middle numbers, right? So it would be the average of 80 and 80, so the median is going to be 80. I could do it that way, or I could type in here median. Parentheses, I happen to know that there is a function called median. A1 to A10 is 80. Okay, what's the mode? Most frequent number. You can see what number is that. You can tell just by looking in this case, right? If there's 1,000 numbers, you can't tell by just looking. It's the mode. Let's see if there's a function called mode. And sure enough, there is. See what the mode is? Okay, there's the mode. How about the minimum? Well, one way I can do is just look here. I know it's 70. There's a function called minimum. You could use that instead. If there's a lot of numbers, you don't have to sort the numbers. There's a function called maximum, which will tell you the highest number in a whole series of numbers. And range is just a difference between the minimum and the maximum. It's the range of numbers from the smallest to the largest, right? So in this case, it's probably 25, 70 through 95. Okay, so now you have what you might do for homework is complete this one, right? And we're going to take another look at something else for you to complete that we're going to work with next week. And that is something called age adjustment. Okay, except that for now, we're just looking at mortality. Okay, so now, we got 3 minutes. So now, let's take a look at this table. This table, we have, by rows, we have ages, less than 25, 25 to 44, so on and so forth. We have the number of people in the population that are female, that are within those age ranges. Number of males in the population that are between those ages, and so on and so forth. There were 4,200,000 females, 3,700,000 males. These are actual numbers from the morbidity and mortality statistics for New York in 2004. On Blackboard, you'll see the file that's downloaded from New York City's Department of Health website that has this information in it. Okay, so one of the things I want to know is what's the percentage of females that are under 25? Well, how do I figure that out? Well, it's equal to, well, there's 1 million females under 25 out of 4 million females total. Okay, hit enter, 32% are under 25. How about 2549? Do the same thing. Equals 1,300,000 divided by 4 million, and so on and so forth. And you just continue going through that. Okay, and eventually, when you add up the percentage, it's going to be 100% down on the bottom, right? Because it's going to be all the females. Do the same thing for males. Now look at the number of deaths, cardiac or cardiovascular deaths with females in each of those age ranges. Okay, well, gee, I noticed a couple of things. There were 23. What's the death rate per 100,000? Well, the death rate per 100,000 is going to be equal to 23, right, out of 1,359,000. That's the age-specific death rate, right? That's our death rate. E to the minus 0.5 means E to 10 to the minus 5, right? In other words, 5 zeros before that number is a percentage, right? Now, in order to see that as a more realistic number, we can actually multiply that by 1,000 when I do that formula. Right? I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say times 100,000. How many do I get there? 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, but that's per million. Right? Did I put 6 in there? Oh, that's 100,000. I'm good. Okay. That's how many deaths per 100,000 females. Okay. Now I can copy that formula down. And it'll give me the death rates for each of those others as well. I can't do it here. Why can't I do it here? Because I'm taking this number and putting it over this number. So when Excel tries to move down one step, see, it's not two columns next to each other. When Excel tries to move down one step, you know, it's going to move down one step here. When it moves down one step here, it's going to move down one step here, and there's no number in there. So it's going to get confused. Next week, I'll show you a trick that'll make you avoid that. It's called relative addressing, or the difference between relative and fixed addressing. But we're going to find a trick that's going to avoid having to worry about that kind of problem in Excel. So you can actually do this calculation. You can repeat the same calculations for males, right? It's just the same columns for males. Down at the bottom here, I'm going to add up all the number of deaths from women. Equals sum, parentheses, enter. 12,650 women died during that year. Well, what's the death rate for women per 100,000 in New York? It's equal to this number times 100,000, right, divided by the number of women in New York. The death rate for women is 300 per 100,000. You're going to do the same thing for males at the other end of this and compare the two of them. Just to give you a preview, the death rate for females is going to be higher than the death rate for males. Does that make any sense? I thought men are the ones supposed to die from heart disease in New York. Is there a problem with that? Anybody got an idea why that we're getting that result? I mean, that's the real result, right? We're going to talk about that when we talk about standardization or age adjustment. The two populations have different age distributions. There's a lot more older women in New York because they live longer than there are older men. So we're going to see how that affects this data. Men really are more at risk for cardiovascular disease. It only looks like females are when we do the crude rates because of this. Okay, so this spreadsheet is on Blackboard. You can download it to your computer. You can complete it. Complete the first one we just did, the little statistics one. This one, do your city program thing, and you're going to be in great shape for next week. And you can email me if you run into problems. Okay? And if we're lucky, all this stuff is on video, and I'll put up the video of this so you can go back and see me do this again. Okay? Okay, with any luck. Okay, that, you know, this is a technology thing. Right. Any questions, anybody? Are we okay? Are we comfortable? We're not panicking, right?
Not yet.
Okay, well, you haven't had the lecture. You haven't seen the lecture yet, okay? All right, good. Yes?
It says next week we meet online. So
oh, yeah, next week we meet online. Oh, that's the other thing about this course that's interesting. It's a hybrid course, right? So hybrid course, sometimes we're going to be, half the time we're going to be meeting here, and half the time we're going to be meeting online. Next week we're going to be meeting online. We're going to be using software. Anybody ever seen a software called GoToMeeting.com? Yeah. Okay, it's basically a webcasting software, right? So what's going to happen is we're going to give you a link. When you click on that link, it'll automatically install a little driver on your computer. It takes like about a minute, and then you'll be able to see our visages and our, if we want you to, and our computer screens and so on and so forth, and our PowerPoints. And Dr. Yang and I will be giving our presentations online. So you can see exactly the same thing, except you'll only see my face if I want you to see it, or if you want to see it, you can also block it out of the way.
Is it real time? One time, or
it's going to be at the same times that we're doing this. Unless we make, unless there's some sort of like mass, you know, agreement in the class that they want to time shift something or something like that, you know, because
next week online it says no here on my phone.
no means yes means in class. What does it say on the schedule?
Yes is online.
Yes is online.
Oh yeah, mine is different. Oh.
Yeah, well, you know, we changed the syllabus because we wanted to make sure that before each of the exams that we were always here. So that if you wanted to get us by the neck or, you know, you had questions and stuff like that, you had access to us physically. Okay. You may find, and when we do it online, we'll be recording the sessions online. So anything we do online, you'll be able to replay as many times as you want to. Okay? So you're going to get emailed to you on Blackboard and emailed to you links and instructions for going online. And I'm going to set up a test during the week so that, like, if you want to, you can check it out during the week or something like that to just make sure your computer's up to snuff and you don't have any problems. Yes?
You were saying you haven't decided what time you'll do it at yet?
No, we're going to do it same time as we're doing here. In other words, your lab will be at 5, the other lab will be at 8. In other words, assume that there's no differences between what we're doing here, time-wise, and what we're doing with the lecture.
So the lecture is hybrid also?
The lecture is, both will be hybrid, yes.
Can we come here to view it? Like, I have a class after, so I'm going to.
Oh my goodness! It hadn't even occurred to me, you know, because you know why? Because there's so many. Because I figured 3-hour class, not too many people would be in that situation. I think so. As a matter of fact, email me if it's not going to work. I'll make sure we figure out a way it'll work. Okay. What you should do? Bring headphones. Okay. I think that I'm 90% sure if you have headphones, you won't have any problem, right? Because they might object to like a speaker. I don't think these have speakers in them, do they? They may. Go to your class. What are you doing here? Go.